Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and if you are here and you hang out in this channel and enjoy our content, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot. I want to talk about today what to do when you are feeling helpless. So I wanted to make this video, A, because we get a lot of questions about stuff like this, and then B, I think just there's been so much going on in people's lives, probably over the past couple of years. Everything from like job changes to environment changes to maybe moving home for some people, losing jobs, working from home, maybe just having a total shift to your routine structure. Lockdowns, huge increase in mental health challenges that's presented to people as well over the past couple of years, and how that really affects us, how isolation affects us, loneliness. Just there's so many things that I think people have experienced as a collective over the past couple of years that I would imagine there's a pretty strong increase in feelings of helplessness. Because usually whenever we go through a big chaotic change, especially when a big chaotic change is like in a surprise form, it can leave us in a state of not just helplessness, but even learned helplessness, where over time we just don't even know what to do. So we get stuck in a rut and then we kind of stay there. Because if we don't know how to get out of the rut, then it feels really disempowering. So I wanted to talk about in this video, like the actual reprogramming kind of stuff we can do, and then the actual practical steps we can take if we find that we're feeling this way in our lives. Before I dive into this, I want you to understand that the opposite of helplessness is usually helped and supported, right? Helpless, given help, given support. And this can be through self or through other. And that's going to be a really important key to everything we're going to go through in this video. Now, if you are feeling this way, the very first thing I want you to know is to be kind to yourself. If you're feeling helpless, it's because you're in some form of traumatized situation. And trauma always exists along a continuum. So we can have like low-level trauma that's repetitive. We can have more extreme trauma that's acute, that may not be repetitive or could be repetitive, hopefully not. But let's just say, there's this continuum here. If we've been traumatized by something, if we haven't been able to emotionally process something, if we're confused, if we're hurt, if we're in pain, and we haven't been able to make sense of a situation or heal from that pain or repair it, then we're going to be left in a state of helplessness. And that's what that's giving you feedback for first, is that you've been hurt in some form. So the first step that I really want you to know is it's time for you to take a moment of compassion for yourself and to really recognize how you might have been affected or impacted by something that happened to you over the past few weeks, months, years, whatever it might be in your case. And to know that there's not something wrong with you or bad or silly or not smart enough or whatever kind of meaning we may assign to ourselves when we feel helpless. Because often what happens for people is we feel helpless and then we get that frustration of feeling helpless. And then if we can't find a way of releasing that externally, which sometimes we will do accidentally through like blame or like, these sorts of things, often we'll then project that internally, right? So we may take that anger, for example, out on our parent or our dog or child. And, hopefully we're not doing that, but sometimes that's part of the human experience that I've seen when we aren't working through our trauma and our stuff. Or if we can't do it externally, or if we have a barrier there, then we take it out on ourselves a lot of the time. So we feel helpless and then we become self-destructive, self-loathing, these sorts of things. And they tend to sort of go hand in hand. So you want to break that cycle first. You want to like take the time to be like, hey, I'm in pain. And that's what's going on here. And step two, we want to start by building a somatic relationship to this experience. So we've got two really good courses if you want to do a deep dive into like negative emotions. One of them is our somatic processing and nervous system regulation course. It's super powerful for getting through like emotions, especially in heightened triggered states. And then emotional mastery and belief reprogramming helps us clean up these things at the roots. And it actually addresses the core wound, I am helpless, along with our 18 other core wounds, like I am alone, I am trapped, I am powerless, I am abandoned, I am disrespected, I am stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, all these different things that can pop up in our lives. It helps you to really double down on reprogramming. So anyways, first thing, and you can check those out for free for 7 days by clicking the link in the description box below. Now, we want to start somatic. So we want to start by like just witnessing when we feel this way. What does helplessness feel like, so that we can build a conscious relationship to it? When we don't have a conscious relationship to a feeling or to a core belief, then it rules us on autopilot. It runs us, right? Like just watch this for 1 second. Let's say I feel helpless. Okay. Let's say I believe I'm helpless. So a core belief comes up. I am helpless. So I'm in a situation and I believe I can't do anything about it. I'm helpless. What do I start thinking? I start thinking, I can't get out of this. It's not possible. This is so frustrating. So I am helpless at the belief level creates this output of thinking, thought patterns. How do I feel when I'm thinking those things? I feel frustrated. I feel literally a sense of like defeat, frustration, sadness, desperation. And then what do I do? Well, neuroscience has proven all decisions I make are based on my emotional state. So then I cope. And often when we feel helpless, we're like, I need to avoid these feelings of helplessness. And so we binge watch television. We, drink, we do whatever we might do as a form of coping, right? As a strategy to escape those emotions. But if we can build a conscious relationship to this, then that whole pattern doesn't come out on autopilot. Or maybe we get mad and we raise our voice at someone or whatever it might be. But that path, right? Or we binge eat food or whatever those coping mechanisms are when you feel helpless, to try to like stuff that emotion down or avoid it or numb it or pack it away. If we just build a conscious relationship to our emotion, we recognize it and we can do something with it using the tools and steps I'm going to give you next, instead of that emotion running us and then running our behaviors at the subconscious level on autopilot, right? So start somatic. Try to witness and label the emotion itself. What does helplessness feel like to you? And you'll usually notice that the actual sensations in your body. Helplessness might feel like knots in your stomach, this hollowness in your chest, sort of like this feeling of like creepy crawlies in your back, right? Like all these sorts of like uncomfortable feelings. And if we get in touch with those sensations, those feelings become feedback and they actually take us off of autopilot. They're like alarm bells that wake us up like, oh, I have these really uncomfortable sensations. Oh, I'm feeling helpless. Okay, now I can use my conscious mind to solve the problem instead of leaving my subconscious mind to its own devices on autopilot, which usually results in like, watching 6 hours of TV and avoiding dealing with things, right? So we want to break that pattern. And it starts by us noticing that it's happening in the first place. So we want to build this relationship. Notice, what does helplessness feel like to you? What sensations? Number 2, create help or support for yourself intentionally. This is a really good time to be like, why am I feeling helpless? What are the reasons? And then in a column next to it, what can I do about this? Okay. And to like brainstorm, you'd be shocked at how many strides you can make or how much like progress you can make by just building a conscious relationship to when you feel like this. And just by thinking about it consciously, as opposed to being left to your own subconscious devices. So that's really powerful. And it can help you too, to in our next step here, to be like, okay, and what are my needs in the situation to feel relief? And how can I get those needs met? Okay. So doing those things will be really powerful, will help you get clarity, will help you might realize, oh, I have to set a boundary, or I have to, okay, my strategy is going to be to talk to my boss tomorrow. I have to speak up to a person in my life and tell them that I didn't like the way our interaction went, and to communicate with them. I have to take accountability for something and apologize. I have to improve or take a course to grow in this area of my life. I have to read a book, or what, it can be anything ever. But you want to bring that to the conscious level of mind so you can strategize, brainstorm, and take steps. Just in doing that, remember I told you there's a key at the beginning. I was like, the opposite of helpless is supported or helped. Just by doing that, you paid attention to your feelings, you saw yourself, you showed up, and then you brainstormed how you can support and help yourself through the process, which actually helps to equilibrate and get you out of that sort of rut. And then number 4, if the other ones were like going hand in hand as strategies and needs, see that you are capable and write out like, why am I capable of getting out of this? Why is it possible to be empowered? Why is it possible to get out of the situation, and to see how that's possible for you at the subconscious level, and just give yourself 1 or 2 pieces of proof. It really can sort of build up that self-esteem instead of going back to that kind of discouraging internal dialogue that may be a subconscious comfort zone where we go, and I can't do anything about it. And I'm going to be stuck in the situation forever. We don't want to be like that. That's how we stay in that situation accidentally. So these are some really great places to start. Again, like I mentioned, somatic processing and nervous system regulation course, emotional mastery and belief reprogramming course, super supportive resources in like a tremendous amount of depth to help you deal with these sorts of things as a whole. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. You can check out those courses for free using the link in the description box below for 7 days. I really appreciate you. I love our community. So grateful for every single one of you. And I will see you in the next video.